Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Here and Now Project's second DAC WA Forum of 2023. My name is Kenny Salvini, and I am the president and co-founder of the Here and Now Project, and we serve as the Washington chapter of United Spinal Association. And our mission is to connect and empower the paralysis community, and we do that with a monthly rotating calendar of support meetings, our potlucks, picnics, and other parties we throw with paralyzed people, and these DAC WA forums that are put together by the tremendous group of advocates that we've got spread out all over the Pacific Northwest, known as the Disability Advocacy Coalition of Washington. It's a mouthful, that's why we call them the DAC. And I'll hand it off to Elaine, and we'll kick this thing off on colostomy talk. Thanks everybody for coming, especially our awesome presenters and the DAC for putting it together.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you everyone for being here. My name is Elaine Stefanowicz, and I'm part of the DAC WA, and we love putting these forums on. And sometimes it's topics that people might be embarrassed to talk about, or they want to know about it, but they don't know how to ask questions, or maybe that it's even a possibility. So we're going to talk tonight about colostomies, and if we have time later, we'll also talk about colonoscopies. So I am going to have my first colonoscopy coming up this year, and they're actually admitting me into the hospital to help me with the prep, because it's something that I am not really comfortable doing by myself at home. So skin, different things we have to worry about, right? If we have paralysis. So yeah, I'm excited to hear our speakers tonight. We have Ian Reuter, Anne Fay, and Gareth Shue. And we really appreciate you being here this evening. And thank you for sharing your experiences, because this is a lot that you have to deal with. It's a lot to deal with being in a wheelchair anyway. And then people, they always think that, oh, wouldn't you love to walk again? And it's like, walk, you know, how about my bladder and bowels back? That would be better than walking, to me anyway. So anyway, that's just me. So we're just gonna take a few moments here. Why don't you introduce yourself quickly? If you could say if you have a spinal cord injury, what level you are, how long you've been in a chair, and maybe what area that you live in, what town. Ian, do you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah, my name's Ian Reuter. I live in Portland, Oregon. I've got a C5 spinal cord injury, and I've been paralyzed for 25 years this summer. So a while, but not as long as some, longer than others, I guess. And I'm the editor of New Mobility magazine, which hopefully you're all aware of and subscribe to. And if not, you know, I'm sure that Kenny can help you figure that out, or Elaine can help you figure that out afterwards.
Yes.
Or I'm happy to help, but hopefully you are. And yeah, it's a pleasure to be here with you guys. I love everything that you're doing up there with DAC WA and Here and Now. So it's an honor to be invited.
Great. Do you mind sharing your age?
I'm going to be 43 this year, I think.
Oh, wow. Okay.
43 in a couple months.
Okay. Thank you. And Anne Fay, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Anne Fay, and I run the Northwest Women Wheelers Network, which is a primarily email group for women who use wheelchairs. And we have a lot of SCI people, but we also have people with MS and some other disabilities. And we have a monthly Zoom, and we have a picnic in the summer and a holiday party in the winter. And we communicate via primarily email. And I am 72, and I was injured in 1996. I'm a paraplegic, and my level is T1011L1. Incomplete.
Incomplete. Thank you very much. And Gareth.
Oh, and I live in Bellevue.
Oh, thank you. Forgot about that.
Hi, Gareth Shue. I live in Burien, Washington, which is just south of downtown Seattle. I was injured when I was 31, and that was 32 years ago, so I'm 63 now. Incomplete injury, C4-5. I've had a number of complications since then. So instead of a low-level para, I'm more of a high-level quad at this point. Yeah, my colostomy, I went that route about 7 years ago. And it was because my digestion had slowed so precipitously that the regular bowel routine was, I would spend, 8 hours on the toilet every other day.
Oh my
And
gosh.
it was,
Wow.
yeah, it was just not sustainable. So now I've got a much more reliable routine, and I'm happy to talk more about it, but that was my incentive.
Yeah,
Mine
so
too.
that's a perfect segue, because the first question is, if you feel comfortable sharing, what were some problems you faced before deciding you needed to change something in your bowel program routine? So if you want to talk more about that, that would be wonderful.
Oh yeah, I'd be happy to. So the bowel routine was traditional. I would use digital stimulation and a Dulcolax suppository, and it just started getting longer and longer, and it would take all day. And I didn't want to get a pressure sore, obviously, but I also didn't want to waste my whole half my life. So my doctor at the U, Dr. Faceri, a very interesting Italian guy at the University of Washington, said, "Yeah, we can fix that lickety split. Just get a colostomy." And since then, I had the colostomy, and that was just fine. A couple of years ago, that started slowing down, and I was becoming compacted or impacted. So now I irrigate, which is great. I'll spend a half hour up to an hour every day, and it's really easy. But so whatever you solve 1 year, it's potential that you'll have to solve a different version a couple of years later. And
Yeah.
colostomy has not been I've never looked back and thought it was a bad thing. It's always been a good thing.
Oh, that's good to know. Thank
Yeah.
you. Appreciate you sharing that. And same question. What were some of the problems you faced before you decided you needed to do something to change your bowel program routine?
Pretty much the same answer.
Okay.
It's just taking way too long, and I was getting really tired of it. And so now I just irrigate in the morning and I'm good to go. I never have to worry about anything being in my pouch. And it's simplified my life and my bowel program tremendously. And it's the best decision I've ever made since I've been injured.
Oh, that's
So I'm
great to
very
know.
happy. I'm very happy.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
And Ian, same question?
Different answer. After 20 something years, my bowel routine had slowed some, but that wasn't the reason that I did it. I had been having escalating problems with hemorrhoids, and they'd started off, very rare and nothing major, and kind of kept going, getting worse and worse, to the point for the last, leading up to the surgery, I was losing large amounts of blood and dealing with anemia, and just traumatized by it. My caregivers were traumatized by it. It was like something out of a horror movie. And I had a blood transfusion, and I tried all the remediation tactics for hemorrhoids multiple times with different doctors, and sought second opinions, and ended up actually doing I knew the colostomy was always an option. It was kind of my last thing in the barrel. Ended up doing it after I had a hemorrhoidectomy, which was supposed to be the other last thing in the barrel. And my hemorrhoids came back after that and still were terrible. And I was in the office at the hospital, and the doctor's like, "We don't really have any other options." And I was prepared at that point for it. I agreed with her. We had to do something. So,
Right.
yeah.
What was the other surgery that you mentioned?
I had a bunch of different surgeries, or in and out office procedures for my hemorrhoids. The last one, the most serious one, being a hemorrhoidectomy, which is actually a full surgery where they go in and take out the hemorrhoids. And it's supposed to provide lasting relief. For me, I got about 9 months out of it. And then they started to come back, much to my dismay.
Yeah.
I'd also had banding and sclero, which is where they inject stuff, and infrared treatments, and all of that just kind of bought me small periods of time.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it. So yeah, I think that's another issue that people deal with too, that you don't really think about or talk really much about, but it is a problem. So it must have been scary with all that blood too. It just,
I mean, it was just, it made it impossible to live life. Like,
yeah,
I was anemic all the time. I was low energy.
yeah.
I was tired. I wasn't sleeping well.
Mhm.
I'd had iron infusions, like I said, a blood transfusion over a course of 3 years or something.
Right.
And I had a doctor who didn't believe me that it was as bad as I said it was. Found a better doctor, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was a roller coaster ride, and the colostomy was a great step for it, and it's
Good.
been a lot better since then.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know. All right. The second question, and since you're here, Ian, if you don't mind answering this, what research did you do about colostomies? Did you speak with other people who chose to have one, or how'd you come to the decision?
Yeah, I mean, by the nature of my job with new mobility, I'm surrounded by people who are more knowledgeable than I am, and I don't profess to be that smart. So I made a point of talking to a lot of people, and I talked to paras, I talked to quads. I read all the things that we'd done in the past on it. Like I had 2 different surgeons that I talked to. The most helpful for me were actually the other people who had done it, and more so for me from the logistical side. I understood, I think, that what I was getting into. As far as it's a big life change, and it's not something that most people are like really excited about. But I think figuring out how it would work as a quadriplegic who needs assistant care and wants to be as independent as possible, being
Sure.
able to talk to other people who had done it and figured it out was really helpful.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. And same question, what kind of research did you do, or did you talk to other
Well,
people?
my wonderful late friend, who maybe somebody there knows, Delane Maves. He was actually my next door neighbor when we were rehabbing at UW. He was a quad, and he passed a few years ago, unfortunately, but he got one, and he was telling me all about it. And I thought, that sounds like a really good idea. And
Yeah,
so that's the only research I did.
okay. Well, somebody you trust, I mean, and they're in the same boat, then absolutely. And Gareth, same question, what research did you do, or did you talk with other people?
I complained a lot. I complained to my doctors, and they connected me with a couple other doctors, and I finally got to Faceri at the U. And the University of Washington is pretty complete. Comprehensive. If you don't find it there, you're probably not going to find it anywhere. No, I didn't talk to anybody, but I have since talked to a lot of people that are interested, and I'm happy to, give my experience, whatever the benefit of that is. But no, I wasn't offered any advice other than doctors, but
Okay.
I'm glad that was available.
Yeah, well, thanks for making yourself available too for other people. It's really good to talk with others. So,
Nobody's ever gotten back to me and told me if it worked or not. I hope
okay.
I haven't steered them wrong,
Well, since I have you here, so did you consult with a doctor, and was it a specialist or your own general practitioner?
It started with the GP, and very quickly went to a urology ostomy doctor, and that was his specialty.
Okay.
I don't know where he is now. He's no longer at the U, but he was very confident, very, once I told him my issues, he said, this is a slam dunk. There's no downside to this. And there hasn't been. So, sometimes the appliance doesn't stick, or it blows off when I have a big blowout. But for the most part, it's pretty easy going.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, that could have I guess things could have happened if you would have had that without a colostomy. Blowouts happen. So,
Even more so. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
We'll get into
Uh,
that later.
yeah, I know. It's an unfortunate part of life, but it happens.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a lactose intolerance. So
Ooh,
Oh,
that's
God. Yikes.
yeah.
Yeah.
the colostomy makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
And did you talk with your doctor, or was it a specialist or your GP?
yeah, I went to a colorectal surgeon. His name is Brahman Menon, and he was Swedish. And I think my primary care doctor was the one that steered me toward him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You often have to get a referral, don't you, to go to a specialist. So
Yeah. And
that's
then
good.
they also have a colostomy nurse that I've consulted with from time to time,
Okay.
which is really, really nice.
Yeah,
have that resource.
absolutely. Good person to have on your side.
I
So,
think what amazes me is I've talked to other people with colostomies and they don't know anything about irrigation.
oh,
I'm like, what? Are
yeah.
you crazed? You
Huh.
know, didn't they teach you how to irrigate when you got your colostomy?
Yeah. Huh.
And I mean, it's basically just like giving yourself an enema. And
Yeah.
it's super easy.
Yeah.
It's super easy. It takes you about an hour in the morning and you're done. You don't
Okay.
have to worry about anything else till the next day. And I
Yeah.
try to avoid, eating real fibrous stuff
Yeah.
because then I would have a blowout at night and I've had those and
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
not fun.
No, they're not. No, they're not. Okay, Ian, how about you? Did you talk with your GP and then a specialist, or how did that go? It sounds like you kind of went through
I
the
mean,
ringer.
because of my situation, I'd had conversations with a lot of people, but I
Yeah.
was already pretty well established with my colorectal surgeon. And we
Okay.
had discussed it at multiple points. The one thing I would add, and sort of mentioned it, is surgeons do surgeries, but they're not the best for care and follow-up.
Right.
And at least where I've gone through and talking with other people, most places have like a wound ostomy team of nurses or others who are really the ones that do the follow-up care and the training and other, if you have an issue, whatever, they're the ones that are going to resolve it. The surgeon is not going to help you that much generally.
Right. Right.
Once they've done their thing, there's a problem with the surgery, or if they need to revise the surgery, they'll do that. If it's working, it's working. If it's not, they'll fix it. But if there are
Okay.
little things or learning things, it's good to have a good wound ostomy nurse or someone who can help you with that.
Okay.
So that's,
Well, that's really good advice. Yeah, absolutely. The nurses are the ones who know what's going on usually. How old were you when you had the procedure done?
Me?
Yes.
Mine was just a year ago.
Okay.
It was end of last March. So
Okay.
it's about 13 months ago. So
Okay.
I was 41 or 2.
And Anne, how old were you when you had yours done?
2007 or 2008. Yes.
Okay. And Gareth,
Mine was about 8 or 9 years ago.
8 or 9 years ago. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. And let's see. Was there anything they had you do to prep for the procedure, Gareth?
Probably you have to kind of clean out your digestion, get rid of it's like preparing for a colonoscopy.
Okay.
So they want everything out.
Okay.
Because
Gotcha.
any fecal matter is potential contaminant. Because
Right.
they're literally cutting the bowel. For mine, it was at the lowest point possible, which is different than an ileostomy. But then they, attach it to the wall of your abdomen, and they don't want any fecal matter getting in there to irritate or infect.
Right. That's true.
So that was the prep for me. It was pretty simple.
Okay.
And then I stayed in the hospital for 3 days. They want to get your bowels working again, because a little bit of system shock and things stop working.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. but once it starts working, you're free to go.
Yeah, well, that's great.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of wound healing. You know, there was raw skin or open wound, but it wasn't anything. You know, it didn't bleed a lot or anything. So
Yeah, I wondered that if you, because you're sitting on that area or lying, lying on that area. So I
it's
wondered.
under the belt for me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, mine's on my abdomen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's
Oh,
very
yeah,
little.
I guess I wasn't thinking where it would be. So was it a full-on surgery requiring an overnight stay? Like Gareth said, it was 3 days, or can it be done in a day surgery? Is it always a full major surgery? Ian?
It's a pretty major surgery.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think I was in the hospital for a few days too.
okay,
I mean, I just did mine in a drive-through, so.
yeah.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
I'll
But I
have
mean,
one
it seems to
colostomy to
work.
go, please. Yeah.
Drive-through
Yeah,
colostomy.
it seems to work. So I mean,
You
no,
get
I was
chicken-
How
was
you
gonna
got
say,
chicken
I-
nuggets?
was that?
yeah, I did. I got some delicious takeout food.
There you go.
Just what I wanted. No, I was admitted. They had told me that I would be there 3 or 4 nights, and I think I was
Okay.
there. I think I was there 2 nights, and then
2
I went
nights,
when
okay.
I was fine. And I had, I'm a C5 quad. I have no sensation below my level of injury, and I had no pain or discomfort. I took no pain medicine at any time.
Oh, wow. That's
Before
great.
or after. I refused it all that, and I had no reason to. I had no dysreflexia. I had nothing. So
Oh, good to know. Thank you. Let me see. So what was the recovery time? I think you kind of touched on this a little bit, but Ian, since you're on there, how long did it take for you to really?
it takes time. And it took about, I would say, 4 to 5 weeks for me of gradual decreasing. And at the end, it had gone from more than doubly shrunk in size. So it had gone from something like almost 60 millimeters down to, I don't know, 30-ish or something. And it was much smaller. It's still louder than I would like, but not as loud as it was, much more manageable, much less visually obtrusive. Yeah, that was good because it was pretty hard at first.
Okay. Thank you for being honest about that. That's great. And how long was the recovery for you?
I don't even remember.
No, that's
It's
okay.
been so long.
It's been so long, no problem. And Gareth?
Yeah, the recovery, more what I remember most was trying to find the right appliances that stayed on and would adhere, but not be like super glued on. So I didn't have to.
Yeah,
You know,
super glue. Yeah.
Yeah,
Gorilla glue.
they either fall off or they're super glued on.
Oh, really? Oh, I thought you were
neither-
kidding.
No, I found the right in between. So,
Okay.
but what Ian said is true. The stoma is kind of big at this point. If I get ready to irrigate or something,
Yeah, yeah.
the stoma looks big. If I touch it, it's like a sea anemone. It just shrinks right up.
Yeah.
Really?
It's kind of it is what it is. I'm used to it, but it's a deal that has its own life, I guess. But the recovery for me was not a big problem. It was more a matter of finding the right appliances, and within 6 months I was good.
Well, I thought it's longer than I thought it would take to recover. So that's really good information to know. So I appreciate that.
Well, it wasn't 6 months to recover. It was 6 months to find the right appliances.
Yeah, I
Oh,
would say
gotcha,
I think a
gotcha.
better term is probably adjustment period than recovery.
Gotcha.
Because
Yeah.
it's not like a surgery where you're recovering and you're
Yeah, in
healing,
bed and-
bleeding some and stuff. I was up the day I came home. I was up all day. I felt fine.
Oh, wow, that's
no
great.
issues or anything like that.
Okay.
But like Gareth said, getting the right appliances, getting your stool consistency, figuring out how to get it manageable and
Right.
regular, and and then like I said, the swelling, those things all take time. And I would say for me, probably at least 3 or 4 months of
Right.
playing around and figuring things out before I felt locked in and kind of on top of it.
Okay. Thank you for that. Let's see. Well, I think we all know the answer to this question from previously, but are you glad you got the colostomy? Everyone?
Yes.
Okay, it's great. So it sounds like everyone is.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm not like rah gung ho about the colostomy.
Yeah.
I wish that I hadn't had to do it. It's a big change, but I appreciate what it's done for me, and it's very
Yeah.
manageable.
Yeah.
I don't have any animosity towards it. It's just, I know there are people I've met who are just like, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me, and I totally get that. That's
Yeah.
not me.
Yeah.
It's been good, and there have been things about it that I really appreciate. You know, it is what it is.
No,
Oh,
and I
I would-
appreciate hearing that.
I would say it's been a big benefit for me, especially when I travel, because I don't have to
Oh.
take a bath bench, a portable bath bench. I don't have to worry. I take an irrigation bag and, you know, the equipment, but it's really simplified travel and all of the irrigation and evacuation issues. And, you know, it's the same at home. I mean, I spend an hour a day at the most, other than whatever I was doing before.
Yeah, yeah. What would you recommend to someone who's considering a colostomy? Gareth, since you're on there.
Uh, um, interview as many doctors and other people that have had them as possible, but find people that have similar issues or you know,
Sure.
condition.
Yeah,
If you have cancer, then colon cancer, then talk to somebody with colon cancer.
yeah, absolutely. Good advice.
Yep.
So, Ian, I love that you fired one doctor that you weren't happy with. You know, that's, I think some people realize that you're kind of, or think they're sort of stuck with a doctor. And I know I felt that way with my obstetrician when I had my son. Because he was a specialist. They told me he was the best. He knew, you know, he knew what he was doing, and I felt like I was stuck. So, and I do see questions in the chat, and I promise I'll get to those. But go ahead, Ian.
Yeah, I mean, definitely have a good rapport with what we decided to do the surgery with.
Right.
And, you know, knowing what I know now, I think knowing the wound or ostomy nurse support team there,
Right.
so that you feel supported, I think that's key.
Okay.
Definitely talking to as many people as possible who have similar levels of function and or whatever, to understand how it's going to really impact your day to day. Yeah, and I think just mentally preparing yourself, because it's a big change. You know, I still have dreams about just regular pooping. You know, and, it's very odd. So I wake up and I'm like, what's going on? Like, that's not, oh, I don't do that anymore, you know? And
Oh,
so,
yeah.
you know, it's a
Yeah.
big change, and I think, you know, it takes a long time to adjust to it. So,
Ian,
you're right.
I still have dreams about walking, so I think I'm a step up from pooping.
You're a better man than me.
I don't want to brag, but you know. No,
That's funny.
I've had the same pooping dreams also. It's kind of humbling.
And did I already ask you? I'm sorry, I don't remember now.
I don't know. Well, you know, educate yourself as much as possible
Absolutely.
before ahead of time, and you know,
Yeah.
like talk to lots of doctors and talk to people who've had them.
Well, I was gonna ask you if there's any other words of advice, but I think you pretty much answered all of the questions. So I think I'll go ahead and what type of doctor follow-up is required? Do you still get periodic colonoscopies? Greg is asking this.
Doctor follow-up was, you know, they monitored me pretty reliably for the first 3 months, and then it was every year, and now I never go in. So
Okay. Okay.
Same for me. Same for me.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to go, but
Okay.
thank you for holding this forum, and I hope we educated some folks that
Yeah.
had lots of questions.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for being here today, Anne.
Okay.
We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll see you later.
Okay.
Bye.
And Ian, did you have something to follow up?
Surgery wise, afterwards,
Yeah.
honestly, I had a follow-up appointment with my doctor maybe 3 months out.
Mhm.
And she said, call me if you need me. And I haven't talked to her about that since.
You're probably not old enough for colonoscopies yet, are
No,
you?
she did say that since she had done the surgery, she'd be happy to do my first colonoscopy, which will be probably like 2 years.
Okay,
And my understanding, Gareth, is that you can do the colonoscopy through the stoma. That's an option. I don't know if they did yours that way or how they did it, but she said
Oh,
that
yeah. No, that is correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you still have to take that 10 gallons of crap.
oh, gosh. Well, the go lightly nastiness, yeah.
I
I,
could drink,
I,
I
oh,
could
I'm
drink
sorry.
like a cup. I could drink
Yeah.
1 cup and then I'd start to gag.
Oh, geez, yeah.
come on, it's not that bad.
Ah, you're a better man than me.
I've heard that they use a different way of prepping you now for colonoscopies. So I was thinking it was Miralax or something else that they use now instead of the Go Lightly. Is that correct?
There is an option, and it's not appropriate for everyone. Unfortunately, not for me. So I don't know how they decide who gets it and who doesn't. But
Okay,
yes, you're right. There is a easy option, and then there's the through the mail. I
right.
can't remember what that's called, but you've seen
Yeah.
commercials for it.
Cologuard. Yeah.
Cologuard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
So-
I've been using. And then I failed the last one. So I have to actually get the colostomy. So they found blood in the samples. So yeah, that's no fun. Okay. And so Rob has a question here. Let me scroll down. How has the colostomy affected any activities you would enjoy? Excuse me, can you swim?
Yes.
Or not, yeah, colostomy.
Yeah.
Okay,
You want to
no
wear
fun.
you want to wear a binding over it. But sure, you can
Okay.
definitely swim.
Oh, yay.
Yeah. Yeah. My big thing is changing the bag and the barrier every 6 days or sooner. And if I'm going to do something, if I'm going to go on a trip, then I just change everything up so I know it's a new appliance.
Okay.
I don't want to risk something
Yeah.
coming apart.
Yeah.
Do
That's-
you shower with it, Gareth?
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah,
Yeah.
it gets wet and I just blot it with a towel and it's good to go.
Any activities that are affected with you, Ian? And do you swim?
I couldn't swim before, but I can now.
Okay.
Thanks to the ostomy. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not a good swimmer, so it hasn't helped me there.
Okay.
But no, it hasn't affected any of my activities. I'm a quad, so I'm in my power chair most of the time. I can push my manual chair still. It's fine. Yeah, no real impact.
Okay.
Hey,
Thank you.
Elaine, I know Ken Vetter is on and he's got a pool. I know he put in an answer. I'd be interested, having seen his pool, and I'd love to hear his experience on that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we did put a pool in Arizona, and I am able to swim. It's similar to a really good Band-Aid is what the easiest, the way it's applied. So, you take it as that, the more you do, the more chance you have of, something coming unstuck. Normally, I can tell when it's starting to lift a little bit. It almost always lifts from the inside out.
Okay.
And you'll kind of start to either, if it gets really bad, you'll see even a little dark ring will start to show up, and time to take care of it. I
Okay.
don't get 6 days out of one. That would be really cool. I'm fairly active. I'm more like 3 to 4 days, but
Okay.
it's, overall, even not just the swimming, but everything, it's just made life consistent for time utilization. I mean, it's almost guaranteed it's going to take me 30 minutes to change the appliance or less, by myself, which I'm a C6, 7, so I don't have really good hand use, and I'm able to change it all and do it all myself. And I never did get able to do the DigiStim on myself, and it was taking over an hour, and the hemorrhoids and all the things that an AD event every morning, I'd just be dripping, and for me, it's been just life-changingly good for the consistency of, what's going on. And yeah, there's always that bad time, but that can happen to anybody, anywhere, whether you're, have an issue or not.
Yeah,
So-
absolutely.
That was one more question I was gonna have too, was the different levels that it can be cut at. Is there reasons for this? Like, does everyone have a similar placement for their, where their stoma is placed?
Yeah, I mean, before you go in for surgery, at least with mine, I met with one of the wound nurses who was going to be involved, and they looked at my stomach and my abdomen area about kind of where they were going to place it, and saw me seated and laying down, and kind of figured that out. And I relayed to them that, as a wheelchair user, I'm sitting a lot. I lean forward a lot for pressure relief. I have concerns about that. And, the waistline, pressing in on that. I was worried that, that there were going to be adhesion problems or pressure problems. And, knock on wood, it's been really solid. Other than a few blisters the first couple of weeks, I haven't had any issues with that. So I think stoma placement is a thing. You want to make sure they understand what you look like as a wheelchair user who's sitting down and get that right. The other thing, I don't know if any of us mentioned, but as far as the surgery, it's worth knowing if you're considering it. For most cases, I think it's an arthroscopic surgery now, where they just go in with 3 or 4 little cuts. It's not like they're cutting you open and doing this.
Oh, wow.
It's all, the healing is really minimal. It's just 2 tiny little lines you wouldn't even notice. So it's pretty nice the way they do it now.
Wow, that's amazing.
Jane was asking if it ever leaks or smells.
Normally, you only
smells-
have smell if it's getting ready to leak.
Okay.
If it smells, it's time to change it or
You
past time.
got something going on.
And then she also asked, are there permanent dietary restrictions?
Only thing I would say, no restrictions. I've definitely learned, I have a better sense of how certain things affect me than I did before. And I love spicy food, but I make a point to avoid spicy food unless I really want it. I don't just casually eat it now because it does digest differently.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess for a question for Gareth and Ian, probably more for Ian. Do you wear an abdominal binder, and does that get in the way?
I don't wear abdominal binders. I mean, I'm adjusted, I am careful about my waistband and, making sure that it's in a good place so it doesn't interfere. But outside of that, there's nothing comparable. I asked about that in case at some point I have to go back to a binder. They do have like hernia belts that cut up around basically the ostomy appliance. And it's not like there would be a way to manufacture something like that. I just don't know exactly what that looks like.
I had a surgery 5 years ago and wore a abdominal binder for a couple of weeks, and it was just horrible. It tore off the boundary, it tore off the bag, it tore off. It was not a good mix for me. So I don't do it now. It's under my belt, just a little below my belt, and I don't have too many problems. So, but the abdominal binder was not a good addition.
And then the question, I guess for everyone is, how much does the bag hold?
I've never mentioned.
It's the size of a sandwich bag, or a little, and you can get different sizes.
Yeah, sandwich bag, Ziploc sandwich bag.
Okay.
If you have a big explosion, it fills up and then some. So you need to rush to the bathroom. At least for mine. But yeah, you're right. They do have bigger versions.
And there's different options, like you can have a closed system or an open system where it's drainable or it's just a disposable bag. The drainable ones are like what Gareth showed, where there's a kind of a system at the end. You can unfold it and you kind of empty it and then close it off, and can keep reusing it. You don't have to take it on and off your body. I use a closed system where I take it off and put a new one on. So it's just sort of pop and lock. And barring anything catastrophic, it's literally a 15-second swap, and then you're ready to go. So
Is that a one piece?
no, it's 2-piece.
Oh,
Any other questions?
I know Melissa mentioned before that she uses a Roho cushion on the toilet. So I don't know if they have them made specially with a cutout for the toilet, or if that's something she adapted. I'm not
Like
sure.
they may have those. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's good to
Yep.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. Curtis Allen really likes his, put the product name in there. And yeah.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
This is Jane, and I just wanted to say that when I had a colonoscopy last November, they also did an endoscopy at the same time, which I think is a good thing to do, because then it's just like, 2-for-1 elimination deal. And the colonoscopy, everything was fine, and they did find something wrong in the endoscopy, which, I had no idea. So I think if you can do that, I think that's a good route to take.
And remind me, what's an endoscopy?
Endoscopy is when they put a thing down your through your throat. It's
Ooh.
like coming in from the other end. So
Yeah, just do it all at once.
yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any comments about their diet and how it's helped with overall bowel health, in general? I don't know if that's such an individual thing. I mean, Ian talked about not eating spicy foods, unless but does anybody, I know I eat a lot of fiber. I take a fiber supplement in my juice in the morning, and eat Raisin Bran and fresh fruit, things like that. But doesn't anybody else have any recommendations as far as diet goes for
I would
bowel
say,
health?
one diet related thing for me that I have appreciated is I think having the colostomy has given me more flexibility about eating time wise. I think I'd gotten into a pretty good time routine doing a regular bowel program, and I sort of knew when I ate, how things would digest, and
Right.
when would be a good time to eat, and what the best way was. Not that I always did it, but I think I have more flexibility with this because I don't have to worry as much about an accident or doing a bowel program, or knowing that I'm going to be super bloated on the day 2 of not doing a bowel program.
Right.
Like that. It's more consistent. That I think has to be good for gut health. I mean, I did my bowel program every other day, so there was a period there where I'd be pretty full of food and kind of like, oh, I don't really need to do anything. I'd get away with eating like one big meal and just sort of wait 12 hours or something. I try to eat more regularly, like smaller, good, healthy meals now, and
Okay.
it's been good. So I do like that.
Oh, that's great advice.
I have a gluten intolerance and a lactose problem. So the ostomy has been a good thing in a number of ways. I can now eat cheese, even though I have a lactose problem. And so what if I have diarrhea? Big deal. No, it's really been great. The weird thing for me is you get to see what's coming out and what was digested and what wasn't. And sometimes it's kind of interesting. There's a whole half my pills didn't even get digested.
Oh, wow.
No, it's weird. I drink a lot more water than I did, and that's probably one of the best things.
Good.
Yeah, that keeps things moving a lot better, regardless of, coffee is not as good as water.
Absolutely. So any other questions in the chat, Kenny?
Not that I see. And actually, it's interesting, the comment that Gareth just made about pills. I actually consulted with a doctor about seeing certain certain whole pills coming through, and apparently you can extract whatever you need from a pill and it's just going to pass. So it's not it's not a problem of you not actually getting what you need out of the pill. And because we were getting worried, I was like, man, I do a lot of potassium and it seems to be coming out. But they said that was an interesting fact that I did not quite understand.
Maybe some of these comments are coming just to me. Yeah, it's easier to consume the prep if you use a straw. That's good to know.
Yeah.
and Activate padded toilet seat for over the toilet. It has a large surface area with a great product except for the price and overlay that could tear. Bellevue Healthcare carries them.
Mm.
And she asked, what about using Calm, C-A-L-M, magnesium? Anyone else try it?
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, we
good.
can, Marty.
Hey, this is Marty. So Calm is a supplement powder that you can get like at Costco. It comes in a big container and it's magnesium, and magnesium is, so it seems like it's pretty good for you, and for a variety of different reasons. Like it says, it's calm. Magnesium kind of calms you. It's people that use it for kind of like a sleep aid almost. Not quite, but it has a lot of benefits to it, and I think Carol would say the same.
Great, thanks, Marty. Appreciate that. Helps with motility and muscle cramps, Carol said in the chat. So that's good to know too.
Yeah, yeah, I've heard that too. Yeah, that's true. A lot of benefits to magnesium.
Cool.
All right, Kenny, I don't know, should we give people 35 minutes back to their evening? And
I'm down with that.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you again to the panelists and for everyone who participated today, because this is, kind of could be embarrassing to ask people, but I think that's great that we have these forums because everyone is their own expert, right, of their body and what works for them. And, one size definitely does not fit all. So we really appreciate you being here, and we'll get through this together. So Kenny, any final words?
Nope, that's it. Thanks, Elaine. Thanks to the DAC WA. Thanks to Rob Wood for handling the tech stuff. Really appreciate Gareth and Ian and Anne, even though she's gone, and Ken Vetter and Dan checking in. Really appreciate everybody's experience, because it, like Elaine said, that's how I got here, was off of other people's experiences, and we live and die by the information. So hope
Absolutely.
everybody has a great rest of your afternoon, evening. I guess it's evening. Have a
Okay.
great night, guys.
All right. Thanks,
Likewise.
everyone. Have a good evening.